Hello, and welcome back to the X Life Podcast, where we talk all things love, friendship, health, fun, and personal growth. Because life is too short to be unhappy. So this is a fun episode, actually. This is part of the What I'm Loving. And honestly, this was kind of a surprise. I had never watched Love Island before. Ever. And I got bored one day. I kept hearing, actually, here's what happened. I'm a big Call Her Daddy fan, and Alex Cooper was interviewing a couple people right after Love Island ended, and I was fascinated because she is always interviewing interesting people. So I decided, maybe I should give this Love Island show a watch. And this was season 6. And usually, I've watched a ton of dating reality shows. A ton. I find them relaxing and a nice getaway. And did I think that I was going to watch this show and actually learn something? Or did I think it was going to be predictable? I thought it was going to be predictable. I thought it was going to be very reflective of kind of what reality TV has become in this day and age, where a lot of people that come onto these shows, they're really looking for deals and maybe fast track to being an influencer, things like that. So when I started watching the show, I didn't think it was going to amount to what it did. Basically, everybody came on, they're all in skimpy bathing suits, all looking beautiful. And I thought they were just there to have a good time. And actually, I didn't even realize that there was a financial prize at the end. So I'm watching this show, and I really fell in love with these women. And I found them to be a refreshing change from what I've seen on some of these shows recently. And I've watched a lot of shows. And then, as I was thinking about, how impactful, there were some lessons that I took away, how impactful they were, I was then watching the Vile Files. And you probably know, but if you don't, Nick Vile is a reality star. He was on The Bachelorette. He was on his own Bachelor, and then he was on Bachelor in Paradise. And so he interviews all kinds of people. A lot of them are in the reality world because he watches all those shows, and he's actually written a book about dating, and he came away with the impressions I really did. So let's get down to it. First of all, I'm going to stick with kind of the women that were there, these wonderful women from the beginning. So, we're going to talk about Serena. We're going to talk about Leah. We're going to talk about Janae. We're going to talk about Kaylor. And we're going to talk a little bit about Nicole. And I love them all, honestly. I just feel like they set a better example for people watching than a lot of these reality shows do. So let me get to the takeaways. I came up with 5 kind of lessons I took away from these wonderful ladies. And I feel like I should say, guess who said this? Because you're going to know. Stand on business. Yeah, that was Serena. And this was a great takeaway. And basically, stand on business means take care of your business. Stand your ground on your opinions and values. So not only did she do that, but she made Cordell do that also. she was by no means a pushover. And although as you're watching, you're seeing kind of, well, let's see, the heat of the moment. And the one thing I found about this show is they are mic'd and videoed pretty much almost 24/7. And they are not fed lines by producers. There are no situations that are set up to cause drama. Everything just happens organically, which I was pretty impressed with, because I've seen a lot of shows where they seem fine and then all of a sudden they have an interaction and you're confused as to what did you miss. And in Love Island, there's 36 episodes, big commitment, but you are seeing the evolution of these relationships. And understandably, Serena was super upset with Cordell. And I don't want to say too much in case you haven't watched it, but you should. So I was super impressed when she demanded that Cordell stand on business, just like she was standing on business. Number 2. And I think this was Serena also. You're not going to have your cake and eat it too. Actually, it was. It was right after Casa Amor. You're not going to have your cake and eat it too. Which, that's pretty self-explanatory. Basically, she was not accepting that she was going to be one of anyone else. She was only going to be the one. The only one. So, you're not going to have your cake and eat it too. It's either me or I'm gone. And that was really impressive to me, because she was pretty shattered with Cordell's decision. And she had really started having real feelings. And she felt like they had this agreement. So when you start to have real feelings, you kind of think, should I compromise on this? Should I just date him even though I don't agree with being one of 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever? Should I just do it because I really care for him and I don't want to lose him? No. She decided she was going to be the only one, and he had to prove to her that he really just wanted her. Otherwise, she wasn't having it. So I loved that for her. Number 3. And this was really all the ladies. And it wasn't really a quote, but basically you see this throughout the show. Sisters before misters. So basically what that means is, well, it's the female version of bros before hoes. These ladies were so supportive of each other. Constantly there, even if there was similar romantic interest among them, they put the ladies first. They were a team. They were a good reflection of female empowerment, and that you don't have to step on somebody to get ahead. And by lifting each other up, they all elevated themselves. And that's so important to remember. Like, guys can come and go, but your girls, that's really important for you to have, because they're always there no matter what. Relationships, they're like that gray area where they're great one day, not great. But your ladies, your girls, like, they're there for you. And these women, I mean, they were sharing clothes, makeup, perfume, everything. They are constantly, like, complimenting each other, just hugging. I mean, there's so many examples. Their men are away. Instead of picking new guys, they're outside deciding, like, hey, we're just going to go. Both were just going to sleep outside. And they were really there for one another. And I thought that was such a good example of your friends having your back, no matter what. And despite it being a reality show, you could tell that these women built solid friendships. And that was really exciting to watch. Number 4, be a boss. So be a boss means that you exude confidence, independence. You are authoritative and in control. And these ladies really spoke up about what they needed, what they wanted, and what they weren't willing to accept. What behavior was completely unacceptable. And I mean, as women, we have a lot of feelings and we tend to let a lot go. But they never, ever showed any weakness. They were always strong, confident, and just being a boss, quite frankly. I was so impressed with how they held themselves. They had such self-respect. And that is super empowering for all women. Number 5. No response is the best response. And this was a quote. I think I'm quoting, let's see, may have been Serena again. If it's not, forgive me. No response is the best response. And this was great. This is a great lesson. First of all, have you ever found yourself in a heated debate, heated argument, and you just stick your whole foot in your mouth and then you later regret it when you should have just walked away? Well, these ladies a lot of times just walked away. And I thought that was really great because I've even had trouble doing that. And the other aspect of no response is the best response is when you are not hearing from someone. You haven't heard anything. You've been in a relationship, you're dating, and then it kind of grows silent. And it's kind of along the same lines. If they wanted to, they would. So really no response is the best response tells you everything. First of all, not a big deal if it's brief. Like I said, sometimes if there's a situation going on, people need to breathe. People need to take a step away. But if this is an ongoing thing, that is your response. And also, if you decide to give it space, then that elevates you because you are not getting yourself all worked up and saying things you don't mean. You just take that time, get your head on straight, and walk away versus making the situation worse. I hope you've enjoyed this little Love Island dating takeaway recap. I absolutely love these ladies, and I am just looking forward to seeing all that they do in their lives. I've been so impressed with how they've carried themselves with dignity, respect, and just had each other's backs pretty much from day one, really. And that was really different and exciting to see. And I'm glad that younger people that are watching this are seeing that because they don't often see that. Usually in these dating shows, there's clawing and battling each other to get the guy versus standing their ground, respecting themselves, and also not giving away all the, gifts for free, if you see what I mean. These ladies were smart, sexy, beautiful inside and out. And if you haven't watched it, you're in for a treat. So I hope you have a great day. I hope you've enjoyed this What I'm Loving episode. And I'll see you here next time on the X Life podcast, where we leave behind your ex life for your next life.